Have you ever come home from a retreat so full of hope only to fall back into your old rhythms a week later? You're not alone. This happened to me a lot. Many Christian women, especially if we're entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals, we long for that deeper connection with God. And so, like me, you've probably signed up for so many retreats, hoping for a breakthrough. And you still wonder, though, will this really change me? Will this actually stick when I get back to my real life? So, what I want to cover in this video are three important concepts. One, what really happens to your faith life on a retreat? And two, why retreats work when they're designed with intention. And three, how to make sure what you receive there at the retreat actually will last. Hey there, wise woman. This is Deneen TV, your faith and business growth strategist. And I want you to welcome you to another episode of the Truth in Business Show. My job is to really help you, the God-centered businesswoman, God-centered professional woman, to grow in your faith so that it fuels your work life and really keeps you on mission for God. So glad that you're here. So let's get started. Okay, first though, before we get into all of the practicals, we need to talk about some of the pain points, some of the things that you're feeling and why you might be feeling them. So before you go on a retreat, I have found that many faith-driven women silently wrestle with a mix of exhaustion and confusion and guilt. And here's what that often looks like. And I'm going to talk about the mindsets behind them that keep you stuck, maybe keeping you from even going on the retreat. So I'm going to go through 5 of them. Which one do you identify with? Maybe one, maybe more. You'll let me know. The first one is that you're just spiritually stuck. So what does that feel like? Well, that feels like, you're showing up, you're reading your Bible, you're praying, you're maybe even attending a small group, but everything feels kind of dry. You're not just feeling God, and you wonder if something is wrong with you. So what's the mindset behind this? You're probably saying to yourself, well, if I'm doing all the right things, then I should feel close to God, right? This is what we call performance-based mindset. And it makes that spiritual connection actually feel like a formula. And when the outcome doesn't match the effort that you're putting in, that's when all those doubts start to creep in. And you assume that you're doing something wrong, or worse, that God is distant from you and disappointed with you. The second thing, you feel pulled in too many directions. We know what this feels like, right? You're juggling your business, you're juggling family responsibilities, community commitments, and even doing church service. You want to grow spiritually, but you feel stretched really thin, and your own faith life is often the thing that goes first. So what's the mindset here? You're probably saying to yourself, well, everyone else's needs are more urgent than mine. So what is this called? This is called the self-sacrificial mindset. And it's rooted in the responsibility and care for others. But what happens is that it slowly erodes your ability to actually receive from God. You believe that rest is actually a reward for your productivity instead of a rhythm of grace. Okay? The third thing you might be experiencing is a disconnect. You feel disconnected from God. So what does it feel like? You miss that sense of intimacy with God that you may have had. You used to feel that nearness, but now your prayers, they kind of feel like they're hitting a ceiling, or they actually feel flat. And your spiritual practices, they just feel mechanical. The mindset here you might be thinking is, I must be the problem. God hasn't moved, so I must have. This mindset is called the shame-based mindset. And it really does lead to spiritual hiding. Instead of drawing near to God with honesty, you withdraw, afraid of your disconnection because you feel like it's a result of the failure on your part and not a signal to actually realign. Or maybe number 4, you are burned out by all the shoulds. I always like to put those in quotation marks. The shoulds. What does that feel like? So you're tired of trying to do everything right. I should have quiet time. I should be reading a devotional. I should go to church events. I should be serving. But what happens is it starts to feel like that checklist, and no matter how much you do, it never feels like enough. So the mindset, you're thinking, well, a good Christian woman should be able to handle all of this. So what is this one called? This one's called the perfectionistic mindset. And it creates pressure on yourself, pressure maybe from others' expectations. I don't know where that pressure is coming from, internally or externally, but it's to perform instead of permission to just abide. It confuses that busyness with the fruitfulness, and it leaves little space in your life for joy, for creativity, for that personal faith expression. The fifth one, exhausted by performance. What does this feel like? Well, on the outside, you look like you got it all together. You're leading your teams, you're mentoring others, you're keeping everything afloat. But inside, you're weary. You crave a space, but to just be without having to keep pouring out and pouring out and pouring out. You might be saying to yourself, people are counting on me. I can't afford to stop. This mindset, of course, is called the achiever mindset. And it makes rest feel risky and actual reflection with God to be a little indulgent. It's hard to imagine stepping away when your identity is tied to being the strong one, the capable one, the one who always shows up. So, did you see yourself in any of these descriptions? Let me know down in the comments. Maybe one, maybe two. I hopefully not all five. But if you did, it's okay. Okay, why naming these things matters? Well, until we can name this internal belief and actually bring it to mind to what is really happening behind all the struggles and all the feelings, it's hard to really break free from them. So a retreat, like the Rooted Rhythm retreat, what it does is it creates a space. It creates some silence so you can finally hear what's underneath the surface. And it really invites God into the real places where you need him most, where all of us need him. Let's move into what happens when you go on to a retreat. So I want you to imagine this. Go ahead, close your eyes. I want you to imagine that you arrive in a quiet, beautiful space, far from notifications and expectations and noise. You finally exhale. The pressure lifts. You didn't even realize how heavy it had become until it was gone. You wake up to bird songs, not buzzing from everybody else and all the things of life. You sip your coffee slowly. You're overlooking the rolling hills and mountains and quiet forests. You are absolutely present. You are available to God. And you begin to feel that stirring. That's something that you haven't even felt for a while. What is it? Peace. That's what happens when you give yourself permission to step away. A true retreat doesn't just remove distractions. What it does, it restores your soul. It reconnects you to your true rhythm, and it reminds you who you are in God without the noise of who you've been trying to be. So here's what begins to unfold when you step into a space like the Rooted Rhythm retreat. First thing, you reset your spiritual rhythm, because for so long, your soul's just been trying to keep up with demands and deadlines and expectations. But on the retreat, you finally match your inner peace, the one that you want, with God's peace. You begin to notice again the way the breeze feels on your skin, the soft whisper and inclination of God in the silence. The emotions that you've been pushing aside just so you can get through the week. You realize that spiritual growth doesn't come from doing more, but comes from being still enough to really hear what God is already trying to say to you through guided reflection creative expression, and silent time with God, you rediscover your own rhythm, the one that He wired into your design from the start. Second, you realign with God's pace for your life. So many women that I know, that I've worked with, live in that reactive mode, constantly pivoting between the urgent and the expected. A retreat, it invites you to pause long enough to reflect. Where am I headed? Is this God's pace, or is it pressure I've accepted as just normal? What do I need to let go of so I can return to the purpose that He has for me? Whether you're doing this through journaling in nature, walking and meditating and praying, or having cultural experiences, or simply just sitting in silence, this space allows you to listen to your heart deeply. You'll see how God is not rushing you. He's actually inviting you into a space that restores, not depletes you. Third, you restore your confidence and clarity by going on a retreat. When you're in that whirlwind of life that we know, it's easy to forget your purpose. But in a retreat, God, He just clears away all the fog, and you begin to hear again. You begin to hear that you are called, even if you felt forgotten, that you have something to offer, even if you felt unseen, that your story matters, even in the messy middle of all the things going on in your life. With supportive community, personalized coaching, the space to process, you receive clarity not just about your faith, but about your whole entire life, that integrated life that God wants you to have. You'll identify what God is really calling you to release while He's inviting you to trust in Him, and what it means to really step back into your everyday with intention. I love that word, with intention, because the retreat is not a break. It's a rerouting. Yes, a retreat is restful. That's amazing. But it's also transformational. You're not escaping your life. You're returning to the source of your life, God. That's what you're doing. It's about having time, but not just to have a mountaintop moment. It's about learning how to carry that mountain with you when you go back home. And what that requires is a personalized plan. That is truly the key. So let's talk about that next. Going home. Because you might be asking, oh, this is great. I would love to go on a retreat, but will it last? So let's be honest. As I talked about at the beginning, you've likely had those spiritual highs before. You've gone to a conference, so you have that after the conference, after a woman's event, or just a really good sermon can make you feel that way. So for a few days or even weeks, your heart, it really felt awake after these activities. You were journaling, you were praying, you were showing up with that fresh energy. But then life crept back in. The inbox filled up. The laundry piled high. And that clarity and that connection just slowly faded away. And so you started wondering, was that just a moment? Or can that kind of faith be my normal? This is where so many of us get discouraged. We think that the problem is with us. We lack discipline. We have a weak will. It's not enough time. But the real issue is that all of those other things, all of those other retreats, you've probably left the retreat without a rhythm. Like I said, inspiration is not enough. It will not keep you up here forever. You need a plan. The retreat, yes, it is a holy experience. But without a path to carry it home, you risk slipping back into those old patterns that you left, that drained you in the first place. That's why the Rooted Rhythm Retreat doesn't just give you rest and renewal. It gives you a personalized faith plan so that you can walk away with more than just good memories. You walk away with a sustainable strategy. And that's the important part, sustainable for you, for your spiritual life, for your real life. So let's talk a little bit about what is a personalized faith plan. Well, first of all, it's not a checklist. So get that out of your mind. It's not some generic routine that I'm just going to give you that's just like everybody else's. And it's not about trying to just be better at our quiet time. Your personalized faith plan is really built around your unique design, how God made you to connect with Him, whether that's through your heart, soul, mind, or strength. You're going to leave the retreat and should leave any retreat knowing some things. For the Rooted Rhythm retreat, you're going to know your leading rhythm. Whether you're a heart-led person, a soul-led person, mind-led, or strength-led. You're going to understand the types of practices that do fit you, not just frustrate you because you're trying to put yourself into somebody else's mold. It's going to teach you how to adapt your faith routines for different seasons in your life, for your energy level, for your design. It's going to help you to know how to stop feeling guilty when your connection with God looks different from someone else's. That's really important. And it's going to help you know what to say no to, what to unplug from, what to say yes to things that are truly going to nourish your soul. This kind of clarity is the kind of clarity that sticks because it's not based on your willpower to do it. It's based on your alignment, true alignment to God. When you have a personalized faith plan in place, what happens at the retreat doesn't just stay there. It actually comes home with you because you can see it in your morning routines. You can see it in your conversations with God throughout the day, in the way that you lead your business or show up in your work, in your renewed sense of purpose and peace. I'm getting chills. This is good, right? Let me know. This is good. You're no longer trying to force your spiritual growth. You're flowing in a rhythm that God really already designed for you. You've just tapped into it. And that's what makes the retreat last. If you've ever wondered whether spiritual breakthroughs are just temporary, if you've ever doubted that real transformation could fit into your real life, if you've been hungry for more of that moment, not more than that, but to a way of life, then maybe what you're craving isn't more effort, it is that new rhythm. The retreat, that's the reset. The personalized faith plan, that's the rhythm. And together, they make your spiritual renewal last. And here is the beautiful truth. When you return from a retreat with a sustainable plan that matches your personality, your lifestyle, and your pace, you're not just inspired. You are equipped. That is the important part. And that's the secret to the lasting spiritual change that you need, being equipped. So, are you ready for this reset? If your soul's been whispering, I can't keep going on like this. If you're longing to feel God's presence again, not just for a weekend, but in a way that transforms your daily life, then this is your invitation. The Rooted Rhythm Retreat isn't just time away, as I said, it's time with God, with yourself, with a rhythm that restores. So come in, step into this space where you can breathe again. You can hear God clearly. You remember who you are and what really matters. You walk away with a sustainable, personalized rhythm for your faith that continues when you return home. If you're ready to reset, realign, renew your life from the inside out, I want you to join the waitlist now and be the first to know when my doors open for the retreat. Because this time, the change is not going to fade. This time, it's going to last. You can find that waitlist link down in the description for the Rooted Rhythm Retreat. So let me know in the comments, which of those 5 did you identify with? But I'd really like to know, what would it mean for your faith, for your life, if you finally had a space where you could reset and reconnect with God in a way that actually lasts? Let me know that in the comments as well. This is Deneen TV. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, be filled to overflowing.